films and films that are trying to be franchised. I guess we'll move on to our review of Justice League. What did you think, Carlos? We actually watched this film together.
Yeah, we held
pretty
hands.
Cute. pretty cute.
Yeah. Once again, I thought this film was a Marvel film. Once again, I thought it went in the way that I said it, it's good. Like we were talking before about the good, bad, or whatever. I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't succeed in a film that it blows expectations. Is something to look like, oh my god, once again, 15 years time, I feel like this film's going to be lost, much like a lot of the Marvel films. But in saying that, once again, it was good. It was entertaining. Had quite a few entertaining moments. Once again, I think I'm talking in broad strokes, but the chemistry of the characters, I think that's what really mattered the most. Especially once again, I really don't believe the whole criticism of well, they didn't earn Justice League. Everyone had to have their own individual film because I want to know about the character. I feel that's a bullshit criticism. And, there was, I understand, Cyborg and, his motivation, same with Flashes and even Aquaman. I can tell where they are in the universe and what they feel like, and, their chemistry together all works really well. Action shot really well. I think the action is maybe not shot as well as Batman v Superman. I feel like the cinematography and planning of the action, the fight scenes in that were more grandiose. But having said that, I still think the Justice League still has a lot of cool set pieces, really good jokes. Once again, people saying it's all dark, but once again, I really like Justice League, and it's jokes and it's chemistry, and once again, I can't wait where it goes. I think it's getting the short end of the stick right now, and it kind of sucks in that way. But then again, looking at IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, it's at a 40%, but Justice League on IMDb has a 7.4, which I feel is kind of where I would rate it, a 3.5 star type of rating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it. I think, I definitely don't think this is a perfect film by any account. It definitely does have some shortcomings and stuff, but I think DC has definitely learned at least a little bit from some of the mistakes of Batman v Superman, which again, I've liked everything DC has put out, but I understand that Batman v Superman does have pacing problem, which apparently is fixed in the director's cut, which I haven't seen yet. But the theatrical release of the film did have pacing issues. I didn't find Justice League had those same issues. I thought that, while some of the criticism, as you mentioned, some people hey, I don't know anything about Cyborg or this or that. I think those are valid because there are a lot of people who did not grow up watching Teen Titans or did not, watch or read comics and, kind of know what, Cyborg is about. So I think there's a lot of gaps that at least personally I can fill in for a lot of the character background and motivation, and I think that's a bias I can
Well, no, but that's the thing. I disagree though, because I feel it's just because it's made off a source material, and it's I guess it's supposed to be kind of starting from a franchise. I feel like everyone has that expectations, but I feel like Marvel's kind of, I guess, semi brainwashed people to thinking that they need individual films per character. Once again, it's Hawkeye didn't get one, but you understood who he was in freaking
but nobody cares about it.
I know, but
no one cares.
But that's the thing, because the complaint that it would be was every single film that is not a franchise has no relevant characters. One of the ones that I like to talk about is one of my favorite films of this year is Baby Driver. You can establish a character, who their motivation is, what their relationships are, within one scene. That's 5 minutes, and I feel Justice League did that for quite a bit. Especially with Cyborg. You find out, he was a football star, and even with that scene where he's talking to his dad, people think he's dead, and he thinks he's a monster, and he can't control his body. So, he feels literally alien. And that's all you really need to know about Cyborg. You don't need a solo Cyborg film being what is he doing? Oh, I have to know his whole origin story. Think about origin fatigue,
I definitely understand what you're saying. It definitely doesn't need not everybody needs like an origin movie, but I can definitely understand that maybe some people would want a little bit more time getting to know a character. Like, people know who Superman is. People know who Batman is. People got to know who Wonder Woman is. They got a little bit of a taste from her from Batman v Superman, obviously, but and everybody universally liked her. But it wasn't until people watched Wonder Woman that okay, I get Wonder Woman now. Even I thought, even I learned a lot about what it means to be Wonder Woman. Watching the Wonder Woman film, because it conveys a lot of things that even I didn't get from the character. Like there's your inner understanding of like a character from a book or a comic, but then when you see it on the screen and it's portrayed by an actor or an actress, you kind of see him, okay, like this is their interpretation of something, but that's really cool. Like I like it. I get it now. Like I get it. And I think that's what it is for Wonder Woman. The Flash, maybe gets a little bit of a pass because, Flash has a TV series. Like, some people might know about Flash, but Aquaman, people kind of know. He's a bit of a meme. He talks to fish.
Bit of a joke, yeah. Especially Robot Chicken drove that thing so hard. Even Family Guy, but yeah, once again, I feel like, yeah, because even
and I think,
when I was a kid, I knew Aquaman was kind of whatever. When I was a kid, even so.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They and in the comics, it's quite interesting. They've kind of gone back to giving Aquaman a beard again, and it was very interesting to see because they are trying to make the character look more like its on-screen appearance with Jason Momoa playing him. And at least that's my prediction for what they kind of go back and forth between give him a beard, not giving him a beard. I kind of like the look, and I like throughout if you read Aquaman. From the Rebirth series, you kind of see it transitioning. But yeah, I think I can understand that the film, from a screen time perspective, I think it's fair that some people say, hey, I want to know more about Ray Fisher's Cyborg a little bit, because I thought he would probably be going into the film, I thought he would have been the most boring character. But he actually surprised me as being probably, I guess, the fourth most interesting character.
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's pretty hard to compete with a lot of people. Yeah, because that's the thing. I think a lot of people in this movie were just man, Batman kind of sucks. As a character.
Well, I mean, I think Batman was fine. I think the opening scene was really cool. I kind of liked the
stalking his prey, just staring at the guy opening the door. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. It's it's very interesting. Apparently, that's one of the changes that was made with the introduction of
the parademons.
Well, no, not the parademons. Who replaced Zack Snyder in the directing?
Joss Whedon. Yeah.
Joss Whedon. So apparently, that scene was introduced by Joss Whedon.
Well, that's the thing. I honestly think the bit where Diana is talking about what's he called, Steppenwolf and all that. I feel like that was the opening scene. I feel like that was originally the opening scene, and then they're just no, we'll put it in somewhere else. I got a feeling that was probably shifted around. But even if we talk about that type of stuff, apparently there was a good 30 minutes once again cut out of this film. Apparently there was a lot more stuff with Cyborg, Flash. Well, that's what I'm saying. Apparently Iris West was cast in this thing, and she was in it. So who cares? But still, I'm saying a lot more. Even J.K. Simmons even. J.K. Simmons is Gordon, which once again, good character from what I saw.
Yeah, good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I really liked it. I liked, the scenes were really cool. Seeing the giant, iconic, bat light. I think a bat signal rather. The thing is, with the what you said, half an hour being missing. That half an hour could be the difference between this film being okay to really great.
Well, once again, it's the Batman v Superman thing. Batman v Superman.
No, well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. And the same thing with Suicide Squad, apparently.
Yeah. I found out information about this whole thing. It's not the person who's ahead of the studio is that Sujihara guy.
Yeah. He asked for the 2 hours. Yeah.
No, he only asked for the 2 hours, but he asked for everything bad in this universe. He said he's the one who said Justice League. Suicide Squad should be cut by the people who do the trailers and let's do the reshoots. He's the guy who cut a lot of things out of Batman v Superman, and apparently he even lobbied that the No Man scene in Wonder Woman should be cut. So this guy does not understand what cool things are. So I feel like so everyone's kind of like, okay, like it's literally like the head of Warner Brothers just doesn't know what he's doing. So I feel like everyone's hoping that Jeff Johns, like, because that's the thing, he's like ahead of a charge now. He wasn't really in charge of like Justice League even. I think from now on, I think you'll see Jeff Johns, and hopefully he'll be able to be like, I want to do what I want to do. Stop interfering, studio, and please let me figure out this whole universe.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, you know, they kind of the DC universe kind of needs its own Kevin Feige, kind of cohesing the world together, and that's what
Jeff Johns. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what Jeff Johns. That's the role that Jeff Johns can potentially play, and I think definitely, you know, they are kind of changing the scope, and we'll get to that in a moment. I really liked the you know, the big scene about, you know, like, look, to be honest, Steppenwolf, generic bad guy character. So that's like an example. Like, you know, I would hate the same kind of character in a Marvel film as well. Like, you know, other than him just being, oh yeah, like I conquer worlds. You know, like the Steppenwolf in the comic is while similar, is a little bit more nuanced than like, hey, I just conquer things.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like some of this stuff is like, if you're adapting something, you need to take some sort of liberties in some things. Like,
sure.
Because once again, I was talking about, like, you know, Iron Fist. I'm like, you know, like, he could kind of be a good character. Like, he's not really, like, very hard to adapt him. So I feel like Steppenwolf would be like, you have to give him something extra or take something away. Like, cause, like, that's the thing. A lot of people don't like to admit it, especially people who read comics. Like, you know, but, like, they're, like, I think 75% of comic book stuff that was created kind of sucks or is stupid. And, that's why you need, and that's why that's why you need to find a unique way to present things. And I think that's why, you know, for example, the Nolan, Batman films, I think really did the whole thing of like, who is this character? What's their motivation, and how can I do it instead of them being like one note, like villains? And I feel like that's what you kind of need to do. Cause that's the thing. A lot of, like, for example, Thanos doesn't really have any motivation aside from pleasing the god of death. And like, I doubt that's going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, so he's just going to be probably a generic bad guy who wants to take over the universe.
The thing with me when it comes to Steppenwolf, like, yeah, I definitely agree with you when you were saying that, you know, a lot of, you know, comics, you know, like 75% of comics, you know, yeah, it's probably really crap. But the thing is, the thing that you can do with movies is you can pick and choose the good stuff, right? You can pick and choose, like, you don't have to be like, you know, comic readers and read all the like bad stuff to get to the good stuff. You can just read all the good stuff and watch all the good stuff, with the movie. And so, like, I think it's a bit of a misstep. Like, they could have given him a little bit more character motivation. Like, they do say, like, he does say, oh yeah, conquering this world for Darkseid. Like, it would have been interesting to see, like, a little bit more, like the thing that they do in movies is, you know, they'll look at it from the villain's perspective, right? And, you know, they could have given a lot more contextual, you know, ideas for future movies with, you know, Darkseid and Steppenwolf. Like, maybe he can be the, point in which the audience learns about a greater threat in the universe.
Well, that's one of the main reasons why I really like to champion Man of Steel, because, like, you know, General Zod, and his viewpoint is like, all the Kryptonians are dead, and it's my, you know, job to literally bring back Kryptonians by taking over Earth and taking over Earthlings. So you can see his point of view of being like, literally, there's only like 5 of us left. Like, we need to breed and do what we need to do. So you kind of see his motivation and reason why to terraform the planet. But then Steppenwolf, she's kind of like, wants to terraform the planet because he wants to please, you know, the
side. But yeah, exactly.
But once again, I feel like they're moving away from the whole Darkseid thing until for a while.
Exactly. They are now. But we'll get to that a bit later. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I think Steppenwolf falls flat as being a good villain. Whereas, you know, General Zod, good villain. I liked the God of War, Ares in Wonder Woman, right? I didn't like the beam fight, and I didn't like that he ended up being, you know, I kind of expected him to be like a Greek dude, rather than like a British guy. Like that kind of threw me off a little bit. Like I thought, like it was a good trick. Like I didn't expect the British dude to be Ares, personally. But I guess, the film kind of set it up a little bit to like, subvert what you thought it was. But I kind of thought that, okay, cause he's Ares and he's a god, he could like change what he looks like. And that's why he looked like an old British guy. I kind of expected him to be like, muscly Greek dude, look more like, Zeus. It's very disappointing.
Which Zeus is in apparently, Zeus is technically in Justice League for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, well, we don't know whether it's Zeus. Is it Zeus? Is it definitely confirmed to be Zeus?
It
I know
could be
gods.
Zeus, but like who else shoots lightning? Well, actually, there's a lot of people who shoot lightning. Yeah,
Shazam.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, yeah.
Because well, but I mean that being said, like Shazam does have powers from
Zeus, because that's what Shazam is. It's the spelling of
the Z. The Z from Shazam is from Zeus. So yeah, they could be setting up a couple of stuff there. But yeah, like I really like it was I like that scene. That scene was really cool. Like it showed, oh okay, Steppenwolf came in, he tried to conquer everyone. And everyone had to come together. Like I did, like some of the stuff that I really liked.
Also, he was very arrogant, so that's why, like at the end of like this film, he's like, "No, I want to stay back and fight." So like he's very gun ho, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Adam, you cut out again. Just tell me when you're back.
Definitely.
By the way, you totally cut out. Just waiting it out because I can't hear anything.
Man.
And you're back, I think. No.
Yeah.
Alright, you're back. You're back. Wait, you say like one thing, and then you come back.
Yeah, I mean.
Now you're back. Now you're back.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like, are you looking at your Discord voice quality?
Yeah, it says voice connected, all green.
That's really weird. I don't know what's going on, dude.
Maybe Discord's just being weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be a bit of hell for you to kind of edit.
Oh, don't worry. I'm putting timestamps on everything, so just go ahead.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, like even in that, that's the thing. Even in that scene,
which part?
We're just talking about we're just talking about the opening with the what was it called, the Zeus and everything. But like that's the thing. We even saw like a Green Lantern fight for like 10 seconds, which is like cool.
Good
and then you saw the ring fly away, so you're just like, it's true to the form, and hopefully maybe that connects to something.
Yeah, and it probably will. The one thing I want to point out is, this is just like a flavor thing I really like about the DC films. Like it definitely like changes up a lot of, or extends a lot of the in-universe lore and the connection that a lot of the characters or like the people have with each other. Like for example, like you saw the Amazons and the Atlanteans, they worked together and did things. And it's very interesting to see that on the movies as opposed to like seeing it on, a comic book. It kind of extends things. It's the same thing that I really liked about like how Wonder Woman kind of, I think, it changed a little bit of the origins of, Themyscira and, the Amazons on that island. Like,
and what was their purpose and things like that. Well, that's the thing. Even in this film, like Aquaman was talking about like he has the knowledge of the Amazonians as well. And like, he knows that they used to fight together and things like that. So that was kind of cool. Like having that's what I really want from these, the shared universe thing is the more like the world is more coherent and like it feels like an actual world.
Yeah. But yeah, again, this could be like, this is me at least acknowledging, like, I do read a lot of DC comics. So a lot of the blanks could be me filling in stuff based on stuff I know. So, a little bit of heads up is there as well. I like the plot. I like the plot about, it's like a very typical plot.
Once again, it does revolve around like Superman in a kind of way as well. Like around 2/3 of the acts.
Yeah. Like they kind of talk, Superman's dead. We have to,
he's the beacon of hope.
And then they bring him back, they knew he was going to come back. I did like how they brought him back.
It was awesome. Yeah, because that's the thing. It was like because everyone knew like if he's coming back, you're going to make it kind of evil for a little bit.
Yeah, well, no, but like the thing is, like again, like the thing I like with this film is everybody had their roles that they did in the film. Batman obviously got everyone together. Wonder Woman, kind of kept people like in line and kind of like checked Batman's ego a little bit when he kind of went too far with stuff. Flash, was involved in like, and he's kind of inexperienced. His dad's still in jail. In this setting of the film. But like, he gathers like the energy to kind of set up the lightning for the mother box, and which Cyborg had to, hack
Separate,
and use and stuff. So like, that's his role.
And then Superman had to separate with as well. And then
him and Cyborg working together, like that stuff like felt believable. It's like, okay, like they each played a role in working together to split the mother boxes at the end. Cyborg and Flash work together to like give Cyborg
they're
time
like the
to
new
like
buddy.
hack
They're like
stuff.
the new buddy comedy, and like everyone wants to like they're good jokes together. Even what was it like? Yeah, even Flash with Batman, like like I guess mentoring a little bit.
In a sense, yeah.
Or like Flash trying to push the sword with Wonder Woman that you saw in the trailer, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like those little moments that really make it count, and that's what I really like. Even the bit where like Superman and Flash have a race, so that's really cool. Like,
that's a classic nod to comics about who's faster, and I think the one scene in the film, like I usually don't do this, and I think it's like it just like the inner fanboy like came out, and it was a scene where Superman is kind of like losing it, and is fighting the rest of the Justice League, which in of itself was really cool scene to watch. You see Wonder Woman putting the lasso of truth around him and pulling him, but he's just like, single-handedly.
Well, it just shows you how freaking strong he freaking is. Like, he is just tank of tanks.
But then it's the scene where he's just got everyone, and Flash is like trying to come around the corner and try and get him from behind, and you just see his eye move, and the rest of his head move across with it, and it's just this scene that just had my mouth. Oh my God, they're doing this.
Well, it's not only that, but it's also pretty funny because it's just like, like Flash is really obviously fast, and all of a sudden you see Superman turn around. It's just like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah. Like, it was one of those scenes that I didn't know I wanted so much. Like, I didn't know I wanted this until they showed it.
And then you're just like, no, that's why didn't people do that earlier?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, I didn't know I wanted this so bad, and it was just great. Like, Superman just like, it's just that eye moving to see him and the rest of his head, and then him throwing everyone away and just going back to his focus on Flash, and you can just see just how, because they establish it. Like, again, this film does a really good job at like the pacing and establishing things. Like, Flash is really fast. Like, they show the scene where he goes really quickly around the Batcave to have a look at everything and come back. Like, they show how fast.
Well, they utilize space really well. Like, you do have a good, I guess, spatial awareness. Like, I felt like, especially like when they're in the Russian town, I felt like, you kind of know where they are and what they're doing.
To be honest, I thought the Russian stuff was too much. I didn't like that. They focused on it too much, in my opinion. They kind of went back, and apparently that's a Joss Whedon insert as well. So I mean, it's hit or miss. I think like they should have shown it once, and then they should have shown it when they had to run away, and that's when Flash and the others came to.
Yeah.
Order of which things should have occurred. I felt like they got way too much screen time, and I didn't care too much about like the stuff happening.
I think
there's people dying everywhere.
Once again, I think they try to be like the humanity. We got to show that there are people being saved. But yeah,
like I did like the scene where like Flash is running to save him, and Superman catches up, and they're like, okay, you go left, I go right, and Flash manages to save the one car, but then you see off in the distance like Superman's like carrying a whole building. Like it's all great. Like that's the kind of humor I like. Like some of the jokes, I think I agree with some people, did fall flat a little bit.
Like everything, yeah. There's always like one or two that are just like, why?
Yeah, like for example, like Batman on the ground, like being like, oh, it hurts everywhere. Like I thought that was like I think I laughed in like the cinema, but like thinking back, I was like, it's kind of meh. Like about it in the grand scheme.
I do like the jokes in general about Batman being like a human who has money. That's the common occurrence where it's like, I bought the bank, or like powers and things like that. Like I like, but it's the jokes of the rule of three, where you say do things like 2 or 3 times, and like 3 times is the max time you can do it to make it funny.
Mm-hmm.
So that I like that type of stuff. I like once again, there's so much to like talk about. Like for example, like the whole Lois Lane stuff. Like I feel like that. You know, you kind of needed to put that in there, especially with with Superman coming back. But like, I felt like it's okay. I
don't know. I don't like Lois Lane's character.
Yeah, Amy Adams. Yeah,
Amy Adams. She's kind of bleh in it. Like I think they kind of have to commit to it. And it's kind of like Henry Cavill Superman just has to be like, yeah, I have to love her kind of thing because. Her name's Lois Lane, and Superman loves Lois Lane.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of people lobby the criticism of Man of Steel and even Batman v Superman that it's the Superman character was like I guess shafted when it comes to Amy Adams being Lois Lane, and like you don't really you do see their love, especially like Blossom and things like that. But I think a lot of people just didn't like Superman and was like. Superman never helped anyone. He was never the hero. But that's the thing. I think they've really, especially even they started this with Batman v Superman, and especially with Justice League, that they've retconned it in such a way where it's like, no, he did help people, and people did like Superman. Like I think a lot of people hated all these films because they're just like everyone hates Superman. But you can see like, especially at the opening with the video footage, the camera footage of Superman being like the little kid and everything like that. I think like. It's like, no, Superman is that big and I hope and people really did like Superman.
Okay, no, here's the thing. So I think Man of Steel doesn't really establish Superman as, in my opinion, being someone who doesn't help people.
Well, it is his first day. So.
No, not just him fighting in the city, but I mean just in general, right? Like they have establishment shots and they go, because it is like a bit of like an origin film. Well, it is an origin film, but how they do it is it's in flashbacks and he kind of thinks that about significant moments in his life, right? With his dad dying, that's like an example of him not using his superpowers in order to reveal his identity to all these people. Because I think people were suspicious, or like what he could do and stuff. But it definitely showed that, he does help people, but he was detached, right? Because he knew he wasn't human. And that's the main thing about Man of Steel is about whether you are defined by, your genetics, because that's like a huge thing that happens in, that's the kind of thing that him and Zod kind of fight over, because they and I really like it because this isn't the case, I think, in the comics where, Krypton is like a genetically modified like planet. Everybody who's born has a role, right? Like you're born like a soldier or you're born a scientist and that's your role. You don't have a choice. You're genetically made to be this way. Like Zod was genetically made to be a soldier and that's who he was. And that was the cool thing. And that is why, Superman is a important figure in the movie because he was one of the first non-genetically created Kryptonians in like centuries, I think they establish it as. And so
he was like the natural born.
Yeah, natural born. And so because he was naturally born, he had the potential to be whatever he wanted to be. And I think while the movie does portray it, I think people forget that it's a central part of the story because he has to come to grips with what's more important, biology, like whether he should care about, Zod and the Kryptonians and like letting his people survive, or whether he should, help his adopted family, even though, some people did hate him, some people did like him. It was mixed. Like, people criticized him when he did good things. And I think that maybe that's what the film focused on. It wasn't some part. I don't think the whole film was like, everybody hates Superman.
Well,
It was a mix, right?
Yeah.
It was like him coming out and people like, it's like the whole Spider-Man thing. It's like, Spider-Man's a menace, but everybody knows that people don't hate Spider-Man. Like, it's media in the Marvel universe.
Well, that's the thing. I think I fed into internet trolls being like, "Oh man, Superman doesn't help anyone." But
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I definitely.
Yeah.
yeah, like Man of Steel is definitely more nuanced. And I think a lot of people.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of
really like
that's the thing. I'll be honest with you. I think Zack Snyder's stuff is more nuanced than most people think it is. Like I feel like he's more of a visual director, and a lot of it is visual cues. Like some of it like hits you over in the face, like the whole with Man of Steel, the Jesus metaphors with Superman and the church. There's always a Christ figure, all that stuff. Like that's pretty simple to obviously read, but like I'm gonna go back to Batman v Superman. The whole Martha scene, that's not because they have the same mum name. It is mainly because of just like
humanizes it.
It humanizes him, and he does have a family and a mum, and like he lost his mum as well, and he cares about his mum. That's what it really meant. But everyone's like, "Oh man, he said one name. It's so stupid." That's and that's what. And it's like I agree. That's the thing. I don't know if people are doing that as a troll, or people are that stupid to be like, no, that's the main reason why.
I don't think it's. I don't necessarily toss it up to stupidity, as more of it being ignorant, right? Like it's just people being like, oh great, like that's what, like they kind of get the point, but then like they don't see it anything beyond because like the scene is just like, oh great, like he said his mom's name and that stops everything, which I can kind of understand. Like Batman is basically trying to kill the dude and he says one thing and it stops him. But I get what was trying to be done and I like but someone else's interpretation could be they did not like it. They might have wanted a little bit more than that. Like, maybe like a little bit of a flashback, like, like that would have been a pretty interesting scene to see Batman think about his mum specifically. And maybe there's like a scene where he kind of thinks about the importance of his mum and he kind of thinks like, oh, like that would be a way that you make the film a little bit more nuanced, because then you learn a little bit more about Batman. You learn a little bit more about why his parents are so important outside of the fact that it's my parents and they died in an alleyway. Like it changes up a little bit from, the typical alleyway scene. But yeah, to go back to, because we're definitely going
we're just
a little bit off
tangent,
on topic but off topic. Right? We're just expressing our love for Man of Steel. Which ironically is, I think, still the highest rated film from the DC DCEU, which is kind of ironic given that I think people did kind of really hate that film, but I guess it's not as hated by the internet flash
these days.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing I actually really liked about the film is the Themyscirus scene when Steppenwolf comes out, because I really liked the events that led to it, because the Amazons knew that they were way out of their depth with what was happening, and they definitely they didn't kind of prepare for what was going to happen. And I kind of liked it, they're kind of they escape with the mother box. They use Diana's mum kind of uses the lasso to kind of pull the box away, and then you have like the Amazons all like breaking the columns down to try and like prevent him from like exiting. Like it's a very like
it's a whole it feels like
old
old school planning.
Yeah, and it's like it's very believable in what would happen, but like meanwhile it's just cardboard to him. He just like busts out of it, and you can just imagine like how many like Amazons probably died.
Well, it reminds me even at the with Wonder Woman, how like one soldiers had like guns to arrows, and you're just like, holy shit, they're like insanely unprepared.
Yeah, and I think I know some people were thinking, or I read, that just shows how incompetent the Amazons are, and in Wonder Woman they're really strong and stuff. And I'm like, well, I mean, if you watch that opening scene, they weren't prepared for guns. They weren't prepared for a lot of things. If it wasn't for Diana, like it probably would have ended up a lot worse than it actually did.
Well, how do you feel about Wonder Woman in this film? Because I got one friend who's just like, they showed way too much of her. Like, they really didn't like the establishing scene with her, like saving the bank. Because they're just like, we get it. Okay. Everyone loves Wonder Woman now. We can get over with it now.
No, I like Wonder Woman. I think Gal Gadot is definitely ironically
the glue
the
that
Trinity
holds it together.
The Trinity is holding this movie together. Like the Trinity is what keeps people interested in this film. And the Trinity only got established now with Wonder Woman, right? And the thing is, the one thing I was actually really disappointed about the bank scene, I liked it. They kind of basically showed it in
the trailer.
the trailers.
I
but the one thing they
really did
didn't
like
show-
I did like the wrist thing, like that, like
Yeah,
how
this is
quick
what I'm
that
saying.
was. I'm like insanely quick. I'm like that was cool.
My problem with that, and this is probably me doing a Don criticism,
Here
is
we go.
that it wasn't filmed as one long shot, because they showed her deflecting some bullets, and then they showed the guy shooting the gun, and then they go back to her deflecting like a few more bullets, right? I would have liked it to be one full shot of her just. It's like, who cares about the guy shooting the gun? You know he's shooting the gun.
Yeah.
Show her like just doing the whole thing and saving everyone. Like, I like the one where like she couldn't deflect one of the bullets in time, so she pushes the guy out of the way. Like, that was like a lot better. I really like that scene. I don't think I don't think there was too much Wonder Woman. I don't think there was little of Wonder Woman. I think she played the role. She was there to. I like the scene where, like she's talking to Cyborg, and Cyborg's like, "Oh, I saw you guys like talking in forest," and she's like, "Yeah, I know. Like I
It's
saw
like,
that. I knew
bitch,
you
I
were
know
there."
more than you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I knew you were there, and that just kind of shows like she's quite aware of
Her surroundings and like
her surroundings, and it just shows like she's a warrior. Like, grew up on Themyscira. Like,
Well,
I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
well, that's the thing. On that note, like, what do you feel about like with Aquaman? Because I think he's got a little bit more mixed reception than most people. Because people thought it was going to be Cyborg, and then everyone turned out to be like, yeah, Cyborg's pretty cool. Like, I feel like Aquaman, people were just like, yeah, I don't know.
Like, okay, so this is the thing. So in terms of the characters I like, surprisingly, I actually really liked Henry Cavill in this film, like really a lot, right? Like, I like him and Wonder Woman are kind of like at the for me. In terms
Well, that's
of,
the
like,
thing. He's
who
like,
really
I think
watching
now
them.
they're gonna portray the traditional Superman, like the truth, justice, American way. Like, even his suit is brighter, so I do think like they're gonna go like Christopher Reeves route, whereas like he's the Boy Scout. He's very just nice. He's the nice one.
But I think contextually it makes a lot of sense, right? Because he died, and now he's come back. Almost like he's got a second chance at life, and so he understands what death is like, and so he probably cares more about people's lives now more than he did before. And I think it's a really interesting way to do a soft reboot of the character, and how he is, and I think it's good. I like him, and I like how he's portrayed in this movie. Like, not that I disliked him in how he was in Man of Steel or anything, because I think contextually and what the movie was portraying made a lot of sense. Same thing with Man of Steel as well. But yeah, like, I really like how he is now. So Gal Gadot, she's Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
What more can I say? She's really good. Ben Affleck, I like him still. I think I would have liked a little bit more. You can't make the whole film Batman, right? I think I just want my Batman film with Ben Affleck.
At this point,
I think
just
that,
like, it's like, come on, man, like,
just give me a whole Batman film with Ben Affleck. Because they just had, there is him in the suit, and at the beginning, and then him in like I didn't like
more,
the
it's
eyes.
more Bruce. It's more. I think it's more Bruce Wayne than anything else. Like,
Yeah.
there's more Bruce Wayne than there is Batman.
Yeah, and like maybe we'll get that with the Batman film if he does end up still staying for it. So like he's then, and then for me it's Ray Fisher's Cyborg, because I definitely really felt for him. He is, I believe, like a theater actor, Ray Fisher, from my understanding.
Yeah, from what I heard, so like he knows what he's doing.
Well, but that's I mean, that doesn't always convey well.
Yeah.
Like, you're going from TV to movie or going from something else. Doesn't always work, but he did a really good job. It kind of reminded me of, I think, Professor X from the X-Men, the first one.
I mean, Xavier.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Not Ian McKellen, actor.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are both theater actors, and they did great. They kind of lifted up, all the films that they're in, and even Star Trek. Like, he single-handedly apparently improved everyone's acting purely by being there. Like, if he had like a video game buff, it would probably be like, some kind of attacker. Like,
So Patrick Stewart's here. Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh shit. Though I better step my game. So yeah, and I think, like, Ray Fisher's character, he did a really good job in this film at, while being a practical member of the character of the group. And then also having like a pretty interesting backstory. Like I kind of, in the comics, he's a pretty boring character, to be honest. Like I don't think they've really captured him in a very good way, at least not in the New 52.
Yeah,
And then,
he basically needs people to bounce back off. Even in Teen Titans, like you need, like he's not a solo character. You know, he's like a third party DC Universe character, kind of like what I was talking before, like Katana. Like you need someone to kind of bounce back with them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's the same thing. Same thing with But I think like in this film, like I could probably believe he could hold his own in a film. Like,
I felt
right?
that after watching this. I'm like,
yeah. So he's definitely my big surprise of a character in it. Then it's Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Again, like, Jason Momoa, I think just kind of plays Jason Momoa in everything he does. Like he's Khal Drogo, I know that guy from Atlantis as well. Like they're all kind of the same dude. But I mean, it's not bad, per se. Just like, again, like, some of the stuff is really cool. Like, he's kind of like what, Superman was in the, Man of Steel. He's kind of like, I don't want to be, Aquaman. I don't want to go king.
Like, that's the thing. He's in the rebellious streak. Cause like the one scene that we saw in Atlantis, which was like, I thought it was pretty cool. You see Mera there. And,
Mera,
obviously she's technically supposed to be like the queen, princess, or whatever of Atlantis. Or something.
No,
but like
she's a very powerful sorceress.
And then gets married or wants to get married or whatever. But like that's what I'm saying. Like their relationship is fractured, and once again, apparently, as like that scene was like cut out because apparently there's supposed to be a scene, another scene in Atlantis before that. But once again, it's one of those things because like we'll see in the Aquaman movie, but obviously those two probably will get together at some point, but like, I do feel like it's a very interesting position where they're putting it now, where
to be honest, this was basically, to be honest, this is exactly how it is as well. Aquaman doesn't really like want to be Aquaman, immediately kind of thing. Like he kind of eases into it. They kind of do a little bit of, they talk about it in like the reboot in the New 52 comics, back in 2012 when they relaunched that. But yeah, like it's essentially like Mera and him always get along kind of thing. And this is kind of like an example. Like it's like until he becomes like, the king in which he's like, kind of destined to be and stuff. Like that's when I think like, they'll probably have like a little bit more establishment, in who they are. They didn't have a lot of scenes in Atlantis, outside of like, showing, Steppenwolf invading. But I liked the scene. I liked, him fighting. I did like, like Mera, it showed how strong Mera was.
Because she's no joke.
No, you don't mess with Mera. But like, yeah, she kind of showed like, you're fighting on our terms here, and like just like makes him fall down because she takes away all the water from this particular area and just like he just kind of falls flat. You'd think they'd have done a little bit better of protecting the mother box subsequently, but yeah, like I think it's the same thing. Like when they revived Superman, I was thinking, isn't anyone going to try and take that mother box that went flying up? But yeah, they didn't. But like that's like again, that's like not the worst thing, but that is like a bit of a plot. But again,
what's your negatives with the film?
So the character that I was surprised that I didn't. It was a Flash. Ezra Miller, he runs weird in the film as well, and I think like some of the stuff like he's funny, like he's keeping like the humor, but he should have probably been the only funny character in the film, in my opinion. And that's playing a little bit more like Walt West than Barry Allen in terms of like from a comic interpretation.
Yeah, because I felt like I think I guess fans of the Flash will be kind of annoyed that he doesn't really use his smarts, I guess, but like I feel
he's
like
growing.
He's going to. That's the thing. He's going to, and they're building up to it, but like. Yeah, because I think everyone's used to, I guess, maybe the CW Flash, where it's like he's, I guess, semi-genius detective, like forensic investigator, and
Yeah.
then this he's just like some random nerdy dude.
Yeah,
watching
well,
Rick
I
and
mean-
Morty in the background.
Yeah. Well, I've heard you have to have high IQ to understand Rick and Morty.
Yeah, no, it's all about nihilism.
So Ezra Miller's Flash like ended up being the worst character, I think, out of the 7. And that was a pretty big surprise. I thought I would actually like Flash, but it's almost like Cyborg and Flash switched, in terms of who I'd like more and who I'd like least. So yeah, like that's basically it. Like, and I think it's because, Grant Gustin on the CW actually does a pretty good job at, playing the Flash on that series. Even if you were to go off like the first episode of the Flash, like he still does a very good job at being like an established, not an established, but an establishing superhero. And I just don't think Ezra Miller's interpretation was that great. But there's always room for improvement, and he could eventually learn how to run, by the next movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be some sort of weird acting. I feel like, with the Flash stuff, it should be never, like, what is it called? Like, close-up shot. It never should be anything of the head, like neck head. Because I feel like that makes it look very bad in the background. Like, it looks kind of, like, really bad. But, like, I feel like if you show the whole body, it might look a little bit better. But once again, it's, like, some weird acting. Because, like, it's like, the running was very, like, mechanical. Like, I don't know. It was, like, pretend that you're running really fast. Like, that's what it was.
Yeah, but it just didn't seem the case. But yeah, I mean, the plot was kind of generic, but I liked it still. Like, it still kind of kept everything together. They gathered the boxes. But Superman came in, Superman basically came in and saved the day. He single-handedly saved the day. Like, nobody else kind of needed to be there. It could have just been Superman punching the shit out of Steppenwolf.
And he would have won.
And he would have won. But the world would have been terraformed. Still would have won. Worth it, right?
It's a thing where everyone's like, what is it? Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like if Indiana Jones wasn't even there, it'd still end up the same way.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, like in the end, like again, like I think it's good. I think everything ends well. They get rid of Steppenwolf.
And then they set up for the League of Evil or whatever they want to call themselves or whatever.
Well, I think the perfect choice would be the Secret Society, which is what is like an interpretation of the Injustice Society or the Injustice League or something.
So edgy. It's going to be a reverse of something.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, like you have the Flash. Reverse Flash, right? It's got to be something really simple. It's comics, right? But I think a Secret Society kind of works a little bit better. They'll probably just be like, well, this is going to be our secret society, and that's when they wink at the camera, like.
So we're some kind of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. That's probably.
I don't know why that line gets so much hate, but I think it's
some kind of Suicide Squad. I don't know.
I think it's because Will Smith. That's why.
Yeah, probably the way Will Smith says it.
Some kind of Suicide Squad.
They kind of do the classic, like who's in jail? Hey, Lex Luthor, you should be coming out, and it's not really him. It's some random person.
I thought they were gonna do some sort of weird Joker thing because I'm like, maybe they're gonna link it all together. Like,
no, but that scene is from The Killing Joke. In a sense, because in the I don't know if you've
I've read it, but it's been a while.
So one of the in the opening scenes, Batman goes to Arkham Asylum and he starts talking with the Joker, and he's kind of talking about him thinking about them two and what's going to happen to him, but then he realizes he's not talking to the Joker and that the person he's talking to is just a random guy who's got like face paint on and stuff, and then it's revealed like, oh, the Joker isn't in his cell, and that's when he goes on to meet him at the circus. So they do the whole switcheroo. They do the same thing. It's like a crazy dude, but it's not really like Lex Luthor. I don't know. Like I thought it was kind of meh, but at least from a creative point, they're kind of sticking to still having Lex Luthor being portrayed by Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, which some people have problems with that. I thought it was okay. Like, different interpretation, of course, because like that's the thing. I don't think you can do the whole I'm an evil, like, like with the scene, I don't know if he said it. Did he said I have some interest in land? Is he trying to buy out the whole thing again, or did he say I have a plan?
I think he said he has a.
Because I'm like I have an interest in land. I'm like, oh no, you're gonna do the whole retail
yeah,
I'm gonna buy land thing again.
Yeah, he's gonna do a Kevin Spacey, just buy land.
Hey, saying doing Kevin Spacey doesn't mean that anymore.
Yeah, no, this is true.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even Kevin Spacey. It was the actor before him, actually. I'm pretty sure.
No, it was both of them.
Did Kevin Spacey's character want to buy land? I don't remember that. But anyway, I don't really remember much about the Superman Returns movie because it was really bad.
Pretty much. So yeah, we saw Deathstroke, which looks amazing.
Deathstroke.
Once again, I saw this movie again, and then I had someone next to me being like, "Dude, I thought that was Deadpool." I'm like, "Oh no."
Deadpool.
You've fallen in. It's like I have to be like, well, actually, the main reason why Deadpool exists because is the Deathstroke, and that was the main reason.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be the same thing if they ever introduce Darkseid. It's like, oh, Darkseid is basically Thanos. It's going to be the same thing.
The rule of thumb is DC did it first.
DC did it first.
They did.
You know what? As much as I do it's kind of funny. It's like if you compare the Deathstroke from the movie and you compare him from the CW TV show, I like how Deathstroke looks in the movie, but I don't really like how the actor looks like. Like, I know in the comics, Deathstroke is supposed to be an old guy, right? He's supposed to be an old guy, white hair and stuff. But it kind of looked like it was bleached blonde. And I didn't really but I was like, ew, that just looks gross. Whereas,
I think I have to look at it again.
Yeah. Whereas, Manu Bennett, who plays Deathstroke in Arrow, I really don't like his mask. Like, that really throws me off when it comes to the
it always looks a little bit off because I'm like, that's not 100% what it is.
Well, I mean, even cosplayers can make a better mask than him, than that mask that's shown in the show. Yeah, the CW.
Isn't it not pure red? It's like, it's the orange still.
No, it's not just. No. It's supposed to be orange.
Yeah, it's supposed to be orange, but it's but I'm saying some people put red on. Yeah.
No. The issue that I have with it just looks very square and very generic looking, whereas the one in the movie is very form fitting. It looks very much like he's wearing a mask that is supposed to be natural, rather than, I guess, they try and go for a more practical approach with the Arrow one. But anyways, I don't like how the suit looks as much. I think it's just a mask, really, in Arrow. But I really like the actor. The actor's really good, and he looks the part. Even though he isn't a million years old. He's just, he's kind of in his late 40s, early 50s.
He was in True Blood, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you watched the Deathstroke episode of Arrow, but I really liked it. It shows that I reckon they should do a mini series with Deathstroke, and I'd watch it. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think Deathstroke's one of those characters where you could do it. Even he did have a short-lived run on the New 52. It was just Deathstroke, and it was just basically a Hitman hire, but he obviously had, he had son problems as well, so, I think maybe they touched upon that, but it was a lot of different things. I think, that's a really cool idea, but, him used, I'm assuming he's gonna be, I don't know, he's probably not gonna be the main villain of, Justice League, but I feel the next, whatever team-up movie it's gonna be, but I feel the way this whole universe is going, I feel there's gonna be the society, whatever society it is with Lex Luthor and all the other bad guys, but it's that society is gonna affect the rest of the films or most of the films, or sorts.
Yeah, maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can. We'll continue. I was gonna say, I think where the DC films are going in, they're kind of not going out toward the universe anymore, and they're kind of refocusing back in on the planet, and that's what they're doing with the Secret Society. They're trying to keep everything a little bit more grounded before they kind of send everyone up to space to fight Darkseid.
Or the Justice League have their own the tower or whatever it's called.
The Justice League Tower. Yeah. They could. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's kind of a little bit out there. But yeah, that's the thing. They're only we don't have a confirmed Justice League 2 or anything like that, do we?
No, because I think the film, I don't know. I don't think the film's doing that great, like from a money perspective. According to Wikipedia, the budget was 300 million, and the box office return is 296 million. But the thing is, like, when it comes to budgeting, like,
Yeah, you got marketing
always,
costs and things like. There's always the hidden
yeah,
extra cost.
yeah, that they, and I think, there's a lot of, like, what is it, Hollywood math, where they, always say, like, oh, they don't make a profit, but that's because they kind of inflate certain things. But yeah, like, I don't think the film is going to do bad. I don't think it's going to reach the 1 billion mark, which is, once again, a shame that it's not going to reach it. Not because of whether the film deserves the 1 billion, but because, like, from DC, that's gonna obviously make him reconsider, like, the choices that they have to make in films, and that's gonna stop them from making a lot of,
Well,
like,
that's the thing.
creative
I feel like,
decisions.
I feel like a lot of it's going to be less CGI heavy, or trying to do less
I
special
hope,
effects.
yeah, I hope.
Because, like,
People can,
that's the thing. A lot of these things are inflated. Like, that's the thing. Because a lot of it was like, oh, we had to add some special effects. We got these parademon things, and that's it. It's a lot of, like, extra stuff that, like, you're trying to cut down costs. Like, something like Deadpool is, like, more personal, and that cost, like, under $100 million to make, and that made, like, like $800 million. And things like that. So I feel like some of it does have to be maybe cut down a bit, especially, like, certain characters, like, I feel like Flash, like, you kind of need CGI for most of his stuff if they're going to do, like, especially when it's a Flashpoint type of thing, but I still think, like, you can make it a little bit personal and things like that. There's there's a lot of ways to cut cost, I guess.
yeah. Well, I mean, if the only major special effects is Flash's scene, that's not too bad. Apparently, according to the special effects people, apparently doing his scenes was like their favorite to do, just because, like, the lightning effects was really cool to do.
Yeah, they
And
were
I
really
do
cool.
like
I think a lot of people hated that, cause, like, oh, why is there so much extra shit on there? I didn't mind it.
No, I don't know. I don't think anybody, or not from what I saw, I don't think anybody complained. They did complain about his running, and I agree with that. He does look weird when he runs. And as I said, I hope, sometimes you gotta learn to walk before you run, and maybe the Flash should learn how to walk first. But yeah, no. But yeah, overall, I like the movie, but I think, yes, it does have problems. I just hope that they do get to do a lot more creative stuff. Patty Jenkins is going to be the person they look up to in terms of, like, making a good quality film from DC, and she's going to be directing Wonder Woman 2. Hopefully Gal Gadot will be back for it. I know there was, like, a bit of talk.
Come on,
well, I know
of
there
course
was.
she's gonna be back. Like, what you're gonna replace Wonder Woman? Like, that makes no sense. Oh my God, Adam, not again. I can hear sort of something.
I definitely think, there was a whole thing about, them getting rid of, that, I think it was, like, the producer who's, like, accused of, like, sexual assault and stuff, and, Gal Gadot was like, I'm not coming back if he finances, any of, like, the Wonder Woman films. So that's the only reason why I say it.
Yeah, but yeah,
but
still, like, she's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So I think overall, yeah, I like the film. I'm looking forward to whatever they come out with next, really. But again, DC fanboy, I'll admit that.
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends on
bias.
what they're releasing next, because it's a whole thing. Because even now they have an open casting call for Nightwing because they can't find the right person. So I'm like, okay, where's Nightwing going to fit into this whole thing? I don't know. It's all everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah. So do you have any closing thoughts for Justice League?
I say, yeah, it's a solid movie. It has some faults, but I think it's pretty enjoyable. It's not gonna it once again in the lighter tone. So it does feel like more like one of the good Marvel films where it's just like it exists, it's good, like majority of the Marvel movies. Some things will like be like, you know, a few scenes here and there would be really cool. But aside from that, yeah, it's a solid film. So I'd say go watch it if you can.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they need more people to watch it. Apparently.
Yeah, we need more things, you know, all the DC
yeah,
things.
More DCs. Well, look, I've got my DC things.
I know, like all I want them to do is do a live action version of like a Justice League Dark thing, and then they can do whatever the hell they want. Because you gave me Suicide Squad, even though you know has some problems.
Well, problems. It was an awful movie.
And also the Suicide Squad 2 that's coming out at some point apparently. All the things. But yeah, it's all there. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just saying they just need to get their house in order. You know what they want to do. Just let Jeff Johns write the script or an overall story arc that they want to do.
Yeah, and just introduce the Green Lanterns and stuff like that, and we're all good.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so that's gonna be us for the week.